side before we kick off, so I just let the stream run through, and then we can kick off officially. And please stream, do your streaming. It always takes about 30 seconds, and then oh, here we are. And then we basically mute myself there. Okay, so it's up and running. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our live demo this week on Unstacked. We have the wonderful Emily here with us, who's co-hosting for our demo of Remote today. Please, Emily, introduce us. Who are you? Why are you here? Why are you here to ask all these questions today?
Sure, thanks for having me. So I'm coming at this from two angles. I am in the HR tech space myself. I run a platform for trusted experts in the people and culture space, a little bit like the booking.com for people and culture support. And also I run a remote first business with EOR needs, with colleagues in multiple locations. So I'm super interested from both angles.
And this is why I asked you, because I feel like you have the right lens to be looking at this. And everyone who hasn't checked it out, she's got an awesome platform called TruthWorks. She didn't ask me to say this, but I want everyone to go and check it out.
Thanks for the plug, Jessie. Appreciate
it. And we have Andy here from Remote. He is head of partnerships, and he's going to be taking us through the platform. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much.
We're really excited. I haven't seen the full Remote platform for quite a while. I know there's a lot of new stuff that you've got that's been rolling out. I'm pretty impressed, I have to say. So I'd love for you to take it away and tell people who, first of all, if people don't know what Remote is or have never heard of you, what would you tell them?
I would say it's a global HR and payroll platform. It is a platform that allows companies to manage their entire HR and payroll tech stack within one single solution. It is a company that helps either a two-people startup hiring their third founding engineer through employer record services, or it is a platform that allows a enterprise level customer with 5,000 people across 20 different countries to run payroll operations within one single solution as well. So I would say that's the best description of Remote at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I knew it to be was an EOR, right? I only knew it in that space. And then, as I said earlier, you've evolved the platform. That's why I'm quite interested today to see, where it's gone to. I'd love to see a little bit of the HRIS kind of part of the platform. Can we start there? Is that possible?
Of course.
Get your screen up and
sharing my screen.
Show everyone what they want to see.
Show us the goods, Andy.
I'll show you. Can you all see my screen at the moment?
Yes.
We do see the screen. Now, if you could zoom in a little bit more, I think that would help everyone on the other side.
Yeah, we're going to zoom in. Once I go to the team overview where you have like the main snapshot view of the HRIS. So for example, over here on the left-hand side tab, we have pretty much all functionalities. And we go into team overview. This is where you'll see pretty much all employee data, right? And let me go over here. And over here on employee data, you'll be able to have all of your employee profiles, no matter if they're an EOR employee, if they're a direct payroll employee, if they're a contractor, if they're a PEO employee, if they're a contractor of record, and the list goes on. And as you can expect on all general HRIS, functionality, once you click on an employee's, profile, you'll be able to see everything regarding their personal details, the capability to edit absolutely all type of information, all job details, so you can. Yeah.
Can I see like historical data?
Correct.
So there's changes over time. I can see all of that back history.
Correct. So you'll see all history from salary to, for example, time off data and history. So how much time they have taken over a certain period of time. Any expense reimbursements that an employee, for example, has submitted over time, or pay items, benefits, or as well, obviously, a time stamp of absolutely everything that has changed. A bonus received, salary, absolutely everything.
That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Do you guys do, so you just said expenses, so you also process expenses, you do benefits, you've got payroll, like there's quite a lot of things in there.
Correct, because the idea behind it is that, whenever you're thinking about payroll and an HRIS, all of this data is extremely linked between one another. And when you don't have a solution that is able to provide, because an expense reimbursement, it's an expense is added, during the payroll reporting, and that is obviously extremely important employee data. So now you have an expense reimbursement solution, you have a payroll solution that you need to upload everything, or you need to have for it to be an integration, which then that ends up being a key requirement when you're shipping for a payroll solution, when you already have an expense reimbursement solution. And then all of that has to be stored within your HRIS to make sure that you have a single source of truth. And because of that, what we're providing is allowing you to have all of that solution and all those solutions and all that information within one single system. So whether it's employees, submitting expense reimbursements, through their application, through everything, no matter if they're a contractor, no matter if they're a direct employee, an EOR employee, for it to be processed directly within the platform, whether they are an EOR employee or whether they're a payroll employee. The idea is to have everything on one single system to simplify the experience drastically. So yes.
And can I ask around location wise? So, in Germany, there's certain rules about expenses and how you can do them and how it works, right? And what's allowed. Is that all? I imagine it's all, since you're a global payroll provider, it's all working for the countries that you support.
That's exactly it. And it works across, incentive payments. It works across time off leave and policies, right? If an employee in Germany is requesting paternity leave through the platform, what are the implications in payroll versus whenever there's an employee in Colombia requesting maternity leave or paternity leave? Maybe in some countries, paternity leave is not even an option right now. So the platform enables you and gives you access to all that information, including holidays, including types of leave, including how taxes are going to be handled depending on the country that you're living in, and so on. And as well, for example, a couple of really cool AI functionality that we've built into the system is also notifying, right? So when you have people all over the world, you're gonna be facing quite a lot of changes in employment regulations. A lot of that comes as a surprise. And a compliance watchtower up here, scouts and reviews all updates, all employment changes in all the countries where you have people, for you to have full visibility over it. So for example, we're here in Spain, there's going to be a new parental leave and vacation accrual, right? And it's going to come into effect on January 26th. And you're going to be able to see absolutely everything. The platform, the idea behind it is for you to have full transparency and for it to be a very easy experience to handle a global team, because it should, even though it is quite complex on the back end, it shouldn't be such a big headache when all of your focus should be on the business itself rather than handling employment and regulations.
And when users have an issue, I guess on either end, whether it's your clients or whether it's the employees themselves, how does that work?
That's a great question. And I think the best way to answer it is to understand how remote was built, because we were built as an employer of record with this idea of not leveraging third parties and having full ownership and control over the legal, tax, payroll, benefit infrastructure. We were able to build this huge network of specialists, of industry experts to provide support to our clients. So whenever there's an issue regarding payroll, whenever there's an issue regarding payments, benefits, or anything regarding the services that we provide, we're going to have a dedicated team in-house to be able to provide answers to all of our clients. We try to provide a sort of white glove service to all of our clients, because we understand this is a complicated and quite important topic. It is your employee's livelihood that we're dealing with. So we try to obviously provide the best support available.
Does that mean you have, like, all these questions, being in HR, I'm sure you've seen this, Emily, as well, everyone coming in with questions like, oh, what's that thing on my payslip? I don't really get that. I don't really... Can employees interact with the platform and get answers, or is it like escalating to a person? How is it for the employee to use it? Not like as a HR person, but like as an employee, what can I do in the interaction?
Yeah, of course. There are two levels. I'm gonna just skip through and show you the employer side of things, because and let me actually show you a cool functionality in the platform. So let's say you have a question regarding time, leave, and attendance, because you're a little bit unsure about how PTO accrual works in Belgium, right? You're going to be able to even schedule a call with somebody, from the team in remote, to get you answers on that particular topic right away. So we have experts pretty much on demand. And for the employees, the exact same thing happens. They're going to have their own platform. I don't have it open at the moment, but they're going to have their own platform, their own mobile app, where they're going to be able to start chats with our support team for it to be triaged to those same experts, for them to get an answer and be fully taken care of.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And what else are you wanting to show us? What else can we see in this platform? We've got HRIS, we've got history, we've got compliance updates already, we've got support services. I mean, I feel like already pretty good, comprehensive already. So
Yeah, I would say it goes even one step beyond that, right? If you have a lot of companies are going to have different international contractors, you're going to be able to manage that through the same system. So let's say over here, you have a couple of contractors, you can set everything up to start paying, different contractors globally. You're going to be able, as part of the HRIS system, you're also going to have a performance module that is fully available to you, or reporting capabilities over here. So whether you're running a payroll element and you need to get all the necessary reports for your business, from org health charts to monthly gross to net summaries, and the list goes on and on because we've been compounding. And one cool idea, for example, of remote, our main goal is to internally not use any additional solutions. So obviously remote is a 2,000-3,000 people company, and we're exclusively using our own platform. So everything from performance management, which we completed the last performance cycle, I think it was for 2,000 people in under 48 hours, to obviously payroll, employer of record. In the employer of record, we can get quite nitty gritty over the details. Support for special tax regimes, support for mobility, and relocation of employees. On the contractor management side of things, for contractor payments and contractor record to have a different legal setup for those solutions. The HRIS, obviously, it enables workflows for you to create. So somebody joins in, I need to trigger a Slack notification to their onboarding body, and so on. Service to collect data from all of the employees, as well as all necessary pay item requirements for payroll, so expense reimbursement, incentive payments, expenses, salary bands for compensation data and benchmarking, as well as a sourcing solution. So we have a job posting side, an AI sourcing agent, allowing you to find people across 800 million profiles globally.
This was going to be one of my questions, actually, Andy. How much of this is using AI, or do you plan to use AI within the platform versus sort of defaulting to a human experience when there's a question or when you need to find some information?
Actually, I think AI agent first. If I'm not mistaken, even remote itself, I think 70% of everything that we launch and build, it's done through AI at the moment, right? We're a very AI first company, and the platform showcases it. So let me give you an example on the sourcing mechanism of one of the functionalities. I want to find me an engineer in Germany with 7 years of experience in Golang, right? The platform is going to scout through all public data available online. It's going to use an AI agent to gather information from all public sites, right? So LinkedIn, GitLab, GitHub, and going to find you these individuals, right? For example, a recruiting team to start generating pipeline of candidates. This is one functionality.
So how much of the recruiting space do you step into? You doing sourcing? Do you do any of the other parts of the recruiting space?
Yeah, so we're going to be launching our applicant tracking system quite soon.
Okay.
We're going to have this AI sourcing functionality. You're already able to get talent insights. So for example, same thing, I want to get an engineer in Germany. So for example, and the platform will tell you, okay, there's a surplus of engineers in Germany, so you're not going to be battling that much. You can get employer cost details, salary ranges, and salary bandwidths.
And I just want to ask a question that's being asked in the chat. What safeguard measures are in place to ensure payroll accuracy when managing employees and contractors across different countries and jurisdictions? So I think you kind of answered that before. You do track all of the compliance, like you were showing, all the changes to what's going on, but also you don't just have AI in the platform. You obviously have professional network that are behind people per country, right?
You couldn't be more right. Obviously, the first thing is that, for example, I heard the word like guardrails. During the onboarding process for employer of record, for contractors, for payroll, you're going to have a lot of guardrails during the onboarding setup. So for example, you're not going to be able to invite an employee and offer them 5 days of PTO in Poland, right? Because that's not the minimum requirement. The platform will guide you to make sure that you're following the country's jurisdiction. And for payroll processing, obviously you're going to be able to see let's say in this case of India, you're going to be able to see, what the specific payroll for a particular month is. You're going to be able to see the variancy amount, absolutely everything, all the payslip files with all the information. All of this information is reviewed, number one, by payroll experts. The solution itself was built by those experts and with a specific local software that is compliant with local jurisdiction and local regulations to make sure that everything's done in a compliant way. So there's obviously filters for absolutely everything, and remote, obviously, with our terms of service, we guarantee that will happen to avoid any issues. Our payroll accuracy is over 99.9%, something like that. So that's a key area of our business.
Wow. I mean, it's pretty cool. And also, I imagine that goes for not just like whatever goes into that payroll, it's also you can localize benefits, pensions, statutory things that like people, would want to set up, right?
Of course. Obviously, for employer of record services, we do it all. We're able to provide different benefit packages for employees in different countries. For payroll solutions, obviously, employees are able to leverage their own payroll, their own benefits, their own benefit packages if they already have it. They can leverage the network of partners regarding benefits. For example, let me give you a showcase of that. So I have my team benefits, my external plans. So you can, for example, if you have team members in the Netherlands, you're able to leverage some of the partners that we have over here to offer benefit packages to all of your employees and so on. For contractors, usually that's a little bit different. Contractors are going to have to, purchase their own benefits through the platform at a discount through one of our partners. But yes, we're able to. The idea is we're looking to offer all of this functionality to all of our clients, to all the people and employees and contractors hired through the system.
And how do you thoughtfully manage offboarding? I've had to offboard people through an EOR before. It's a different way of doing it. Can feel less human. I'm curious how you handle that as a platform.
I would like to switch profiles to show you something actually quite interesting. But the idea behind, for an employer of record solution, right? It is important to understand that under an employer of record solution, you're not the person directly responsible or legally hiring the employee, right? It is remote in the scenario, right? So whenever
and I think sorry, Andy, just to cut you off for a second. I think not a lot of people always understand that. So that might just be worth explaining before you go into the offboarding.
Yeah, like an EOR
as well.
Like an EOR engagement versus payroll. You've got two functionalities. You enable payroll services where where the company hires someone and you do payroll, but you also were originally EOR. Maybe you explain that a bit.
Yeah. So an employer of record solution enables companies to hire employees in countries where they're not registered. You don't have, let's say, you're a US-based company, you're a UK-based company, you're looking to hire somebody in Japan. If you don't have a legal entity over there, you're not looking to open up your legal entity over there, and you just want to hire this individual, what you can do is you can contract with Remote. You can enter into a service relationship with Remote for Remote entity in Japan and Remote team in Japan to hire this individual on your behalf. Meaning that from a legal point of view, the employee in Japan, for example, is entering into an employment relationship with Remote Japan, while you have a service relationship, a provider sort of level relationship between Remote, let's say the Netherlands, and your company. So that means that Remote is fully liable for anything employment-wise. If, let's say, we make a mistake on the employee's payroll, or we didn't pay their benefits or statutory contributions, or something happens, Remote is the liable party. If something happens with this employee, if there's an issue, Remote is legally liable and financially liable for this employee because we're the legal employer. So with that mindset in place, whenever you're talking with an employee regarding onboarding, offboarding processes or delicate situations, is very, very important for have Remote involved during that process so that we can guide you to make sure that any situation is solved as quickly and as efficiently as possible, right? So on a platform level, what happens during, for example, an onboarding process, you have a couple of functionalities. Let me give you some idea. So when you look at an employee's profile, right, you're going to be able to request, an onboarding request was already generated for this profile. So let me go ahead and find another one. Hannah, right? Same thing. Let me go here to Luis. Funny enough, a lot of our employee profiles already had that happen.
They've done too many test offboardings.
We've done too many tests.
Done too many offboardings in the demo account.
Offboarding requested, but the idea is that you're going to raise an offboarding request, right? And that all that request is going to require you to add all the details of that request, right? The reasoning for the request, any special considerations, maybe this person is on leave, whatever it is. And we have a dedicated team that specializes in that area to review the request, to connect with you directly, to make sure that we schedule like a plan for that process so that everything's done accordingly to employment law or in consideration for the specific situation that you're living in, because this is something to consider on an ad hoc basis, on a case-by-case basis. This is not something that you can fully automate. Yeah. The platform will have a lot of AI functionality. I'm so sad that I wasn't able to show it right now, but it can give you some notes regarding, hey, like all of this is usually required in Spain, so you can get a heads up of what you're getting yourself into.
And it's very good. I like that you know, that you've got the tech enabled part of it, but it's also like the human behind it. I think it's really important that the human element in that process, like Emily mentioned, it can also be really messy. I've lived through that as well, where it's messy. And we've got a question here from Jess. She said, can you help me understand, Andy, is the idea that this replaces an existing HRIS or supplements as another source of truth? How does it, like, the idea is that more or less.
The idea is actually to fully replace your current HRIS platform, because currently right now you have a solution that, or let me paint a picture, a situation that you may be living in, right? You have your HRIS, but you have that is connected to your payroll solution in the US. But at the same time, you have your payroll in another country that may not be connected to the HRIS, or you're using a localized system for that. So you have two single sources of truth. Another element could be that you have contractors in another country and you're paying them and everything's running properly. And even though those contractors are within your HRIS, all pay elements are not properly recorded. So you have a little bit of a knowledge gap and an information gap on that front. And then maybe you want to switch payroll solutions because you had an issue, but that new payroll solution that you were very excited about suddenly doesn't integrate with your current HRIS. So now you have an issue because then you have to manually upload everything to make sure that everything's properly recorded.
We can't go down that rabbit hole of manual uploading. I can't. Trauma.
Exactly.
Trauma. But I think what I'm thinking when I hear this is kind of like total workforce management. You know, you've got people who are engaged in EOR, in the EOR space, that you can't hire any other way because you don't have an entity and you don't have a representation in that country. Then you have your global kind of, you know, employees that are hired by you into your HRIS, and you have your global payroll to pay them. And then obviously all the things that you said that come with that around, you know, benefits and expenses and this and that and all the things. And then on the other side, you've also got the contractor management. So where you have people who are engaged as a freelancer, you can keep track of paying them and kind of have their portal there as well. And how does that work around? Because that was something that was a big challenge in the company when I was in the people team. It was that we were tracking. It was very hard to track freelancers and all these contractors that we were working, you know, make sure the invoices were on time and that we paid them and that we knew what was coming up and all that kind of stuff. How does that help?
And that's exactly one of our core solutions as well, right? You're going to have a contractor management platform that allows you, the idea behind it is to make sure that you're hiring contractors in a compliant manner, that you're automating most of the process. It's very easy to handle, you know, 5-10 contractors internationally. You're probably keeping an Excel file. You're, you know, telling them, please upload your invoice every day of the month, and you do it. But suddenly you have 70 contractors, you have 200 contractors, and that becomes a nightmare, right?
Yes,
the idea is to centralize operations, all management of the contractors over here, and for the payments to be as efficiently as possible, right? What happens when you want to pay 200 contractors, but those 200 contractors are going to have different bank accounts. They want to receive their money in different currencies. Some of them in one country want to receive a local payment, like bank transfer. Some of them want to receive their money on Wise, and some of them want to receive their money in another country's, you know, bank account.
Payment
that becomes just a chaos. And the platform allows you to, you know, I'm going to select, you know, these 25 invoices. I'm just going to proceed with payment, right? And that's it. It takes us 2 minutes to execute payments for 25, 200, 1,000 contractors. And then for remote to take care of everything. The contractors on their own side of things are going to be able to select where they want to receive their money, in what currency they invoice you, and so on. And lastly, the platform obviously allows you to automate this. Maybe some contractors are on a recurring schedule. So instead of reminding them that they need to upload their invoice, everything's already fully automated and you can automate payments. So you don't even have to look at the platform and everything's already taken care of.
Are you seeing higher demand for this service as well? I feel like we're moving to quite a fractional and freelance market at the moment.
I would say there's definitely a big need in certain industries for it. And a lot of companies are always going to have a certain workforce sort of group dedicated to contractors. And that's why we have additional levels of contractor management services. For example, on the standard service in the contractor management platform, you contract directly with this individual. That means that you own the legal relationship and the legal contract with this person. So you have this entity in the US contracting directly with this contractor in Mexico. You're legally, responsible for this. Even though remote helps you with everything, you have that direct relationship. We have another service that provides this protection in terms of monetary protection, so up to $1 million worth of protection when it comes to misclassification claims, where both contractors and the company need to sign a statement of work. And lastly, we provide a contractor of record solution that allows for remote to actually contract directly with these individuals through a local entity. So maybe you're working on a particular project, or maybe you're working or you're expecting to be closer to an M&A, or there's actually a big list of reasons why you may want to keep certain contractors maybe at an arm's length, and you wouldn't want to contract with them directly. Remote can help you with that. So you have that full service offering available to you.
Very comprehensive, I have to say. We have 3 minutes to wrap up. So is there anything that we haven't seen that you wanted to share? Because I feel like there's a lot in this platform. We got through quite a bit of it, but if there's something is there something magical that we haven't seen that you wanted to show?
I wouldn't say something magical. What I would say is most of the solutions, what I would like to convey is this idea of consolidation, right? So from being able to hop on a call with an expert for time and leave and attendance, to paying contractors, to managing equity of employees. Maybe you have employees and you need to, and you have equity for all of these employees, but remote as your payroll solution or your employer of record is gonna have to help you with the reporting and the tax withholdings, or contractor payments, contractor of record. If you're a 2-people startup, you can use EOR and HRIS, as well as if you're a 2,000 people company, you can run payroll in multiple countries. I think that's the idea that I want to convey, this element of consolidation to support you, whether you're in very early stage of your companies, throughout this entire trajectory of growth until you're a 3,000 people company, just like us, because we exclusively use our own solutions as well. So that's what I would like to convey.
Yeah, very interesting. Wow. Thank you for sharing. Any last questions, Emily, before we?
Who do you think is the ideal target? So obviously you've shown that you can use it if you're a small company, a large company. Or what, who is your ideal target audience? Who do you think gets the most benefit from this?
Yeah, I would say white collar, maybe companies that have salaried employees. Those companies, not because we cater best for them specifically, because those companies tend to have, globally distributed teams for salaried-based employees and have like a bigger need for our solutions, rather than we serve them best specifically for XYZ reason. Because we also work with, with biotech companies, with so on. I would say the main definition is that we don't provide that much support for blue collar workers or high risk industries. That's an area that requires another layer of complexity when it comes to a payroll element and a compliance matter that remote is not particularly able to support. And nonetheless, that's on a case by case basis. So white collar companies is our bread and butter.
Great.
No matter the size, really.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much. We've got to wrap up. We're out of time. I really, really appreciate seeing that. That was great to go through all of the different, elements that you have available. Emily, appreciate your questions and joining us as co-host. And everyone who joined, thank you. I hope that was interesting. I hope you got to see a little bit of the platform. If you want to find out more, you can reach out directly to Andy. You can go to remote.com. You can reach out to me. You can go to stacked.tech. You can really connect however you would like. And of course, you can just connect with us all because you want to connect and nothing to do with remote. That's also option 2. So thank you again.
Hi.
Thank you again for joining.
Please do.
Yeah, please do. And until next time, make sure that you check out the Luma calendar. We have lots of events coming up, more demos. And otherwise, we'll see you on the feed, everyone. Thank you. Bye.